On my own liners. We are going to try to get our next guest in here. Shelly Skandrani? Is that how you pronounce her name? Shelly Skandrani. I don't know who that is. She's an actress. You know what's funny is that when she watches this back later, she's going to be like, of course you should know who I am. I sent you an info sheet. So we are going to try to connect here via the magic of Skype audio. Skype video. Somebody's doing something somewhere. And I think there is Shelly. And I think there's Jay. Maybe.
No, I'm not.
Okay. I've left the room, and then at that point I play the door sound effect. Okay, but that's what Tom Likas used to do. Tom Likas would have people, they would call in and they'd be like, he would do his intro and then they'd be like, well, can I talk to Tom? And he's like, oh, you want to talk to Tom? And then he would play music and then he would go, the Tom Likas Show, and then he would say, this is Tom, and then he goes, who is this? And they go, can I talk to Tom? And he's like, nope, I left the room. And then you would hear a door sound effect. But it's just the way things.
Do it to make people smile. And
well,
laugh.
that too. And we are gonna pull Shelly in on the magic of Skype video. There she is. She knows how to do Skype. She's smiling. She's well positioned. But I don't think I can hear her. I can't hear her. Damn it. I can hear you, Jay, but I can't hear her. I can see her. She's quite
she can do the body and the voice.
She's quite the perv magnet. If Ross Long was here, he would enjoy Shelly. She's got nice hair. I don't know. We're gonna 1 second, she says. She might have to hang up and call back. That might have to be the problem. Or maybe she'll hang up and call back. No, I left the room. Okay. I don't know why I'm entertained by that. Let's see. Let's do this. Let's go over here to this thing. I'm going to shut that off. And I am going to pull this up. So Jay... yeah. I'm not sure what the hell the deal was with the Skype trying to, I don't know. Maybe it's because they were on the phone and I was,
yeah.
I don't know. We've never had that problem before, but who knows?
That would have been an awesome band to ask a whole bunch of questions for. I saw a little bit on the live feed.
Mercury retrograde. It might. Who knows? I don't think it's Mercury retrograde. I just. I think it's just Skype is. Skype is what it is. It is what it is, and sometimes I just wish we could go back to the typewriter. We've got Jay joining us. Shelly, I think, is going to do a Skype test somewhere, and then she will call us back, and we'll get her in here, and then we're going to talk to Asia Anderson at the top of next hour, and then we're going to have on a dominatrix, which should be interesting. I think Jay will have some interesting questions from the dominatrix. I'm hoping. We have okay. I think we've got Shelly back because I hear something.
I heard Shelly for a second.
Shelly.
Hi.
There she is. Look at that. And she's on the Skype video, and she's there. She is. She's got things adjusted. She's you know, if my friends over there at the at the old what would we refer to them, at the old restaurant, if they were watching this, they would say she has good headspace because, you know, doesn't have too much sky. I was always told back in the day, you have too much sky in your shots. And I'm like, Jiggy Jag TV is supposed to be shot to look like crap. That's why the show is the way that it is. It was the most. It was what was it? It was the most unwatched show on Access TV, #1 in hell, something. I don't know. I have some old liners. But so Shelly,
that's the question.
Well, that too. That is the question.
Perfect.
Because
I had to restart the whole laptop.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine. We're I'm just it's like I've heard a few radio hosts say in the past, we're just doing a little radio show here. Don't worry about it. So go ahead and tell me and Jay all about yourself. I know that me and Jay are going to have some questions for you, so jump in there and spill your guts, as they say.
Okay, my name is Shelly Skandrani, and I am an actress. I do theater, film, and television. I'm from Europe. I was born in Israel, and I grew up in London, and now I live in LA, so I'm a big mixture of different cultures. Probably the most known role that I've had in America is the one in The Devil's Arithmetic, which is the Holocaust film that was produced by Dustin Hoffman for Showtime.
Wow.
And
holy smokes.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal, but obviously I've done other things in Europe, but like in America, that's the one that's most known. And now I live in LA. I've been here for a few years, really pushing my career forward and excited to be doing new things and telling you about them.
Awesome. So 25 years of experience in the film and television. That when the heck did you start this? Because you look like you're 18.
Thank you.
I'm like, are you like Shirley Temple? Did you start when you were 5? And
I'm actually 35 years old and proud.
Wow.
I'm very happy to be of my age because I think that with age comes experience. I started at the age of 9.
Aha! There we go. I knew you started young. That there's no way that you got 25 years of experience and you look like you do. There's no way. You started when you were still little. So
yeah, I grew up on the stage. Other people went to soccer and I went to practice to like rehearsals and got on a stage and talked to complete strangers.
Well,
So,
I ran away with the circus.
Well, Jay, jump in there. You had a question?
I was just gonna say, is it appropriate to say Shalom Aleichem?
Absolutely. It's a positive thing. It means peace be with you. It's appropriate to say it to every human being on the planet, I believe, because peace be upon all of us.
Wow. Holy smokes, look at that. I did not know. I did not know that you knew that, Jay. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, there's a few words I know in Hebrew.
Oh, nice. What else? Well, it's Passover soon. Do you know any Passover words?
Yeah, Pesach.
Pesach. Good.
They're having their own little conversation. I'm just sitting here going, well, I got nothing.
It's a really good holiday. It's all about freedom and getting drunk,
Well,
hey, there's a scientific reason for that. Once a year, the humans need to be able to have a yeast cleanse.
Oh, yes. Okay. I didn't know that was scientific.
Well, we have got a great guest with us today, and I know I'm going to butcher your last name, even though you said it earlier. Shelly Skandrani?
That's pretty good.
Okay.
I have to say, that's pretty good.
Well,
And
I always, every time I butcher someone's name, I always go, well, Jiggy Jaguar, the ugly American. So, but
actually, when I first moved here, I was told that I should change my name and make it more American.
No.
No.
I know. This is like before people were thinking about diversity.
Oh, too
My
bad.
name is actually Egyptian. It's from Alexandria.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome. So social media, websites, if people want to look you up, how do they find you?
Google.
That's it.
My name. I come up on IMDb, on Facebook, on Instagram, on everything. Just Google. There's no other Shelly Skandrani on Google.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Okay. How do you spell it?
So, Skandrani, I want to make sure I get this right. Skandrani, correct?
Perfecto.
Look at that.
Oh, so you know more than Hebrew.
Yeah, I do. I speak Spanish too.
So speaking the languages that you've got, has that made it easier for you to get certain roles and things over the years?
I think Spanish has been more useful, although, because there's not really a lot of roles being written for Israelis, but Transparent Season 4, the whole family went to Israel, and there were a bunch of roles for Israelis, and I remember I went to the audition, and pretty much every Israeli in town, like all the people I knew were at the audition.
That's
and
awesome.
I got the part. I got like a recurring role, like a co-star recurring role on the show because I spoke Hebrew. Because they specifically needed me to kind of, I don't know if you watch it, but there's like a commercial in there, which is in Hebrew, and I'm the commercial model with big like, 80s hair because it was set in the 80s. It was very funny. It was a lot of fun. So with that specifically, yeah, the Hebrew helped. But there's not a lot of roles being written for Israelis. But I'm hoping that with Gal Gadot becoming this like phenomenon, that there's going to be more roles for Israelis. So, but definitely the Spanish has helped. Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
the fact that I can do different accents helps.
You're saying that with everybody worried about Gog-Magog war, you're thinking more people need to write screenplays? Is that what you're saying?
No. You know Wonder Woman?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gal Gadot.
Gal Gadot. Okay. See, I always butcher her name, too.
Her becoming this popular phenomenon, I'm hoping that more people are going to realize that there's room for Israelis in the film industry in America and write more roles for them.
And more, you know, that... It could very well happen. You ride that wave, baby. Ride that wave.
I'll have to work on that screenplay after I get done with the screenplay I'm writing right now.
Oh, cool. What are you writing right now?
It's basically the feminine version of Brokeback Mountain.
Interesting.
Jesus. Of course, Jay is doing that. We have learned all sorts of things about Jay the last couple of weeks. That has just been amazing, so that doesn't shock me that this is going on. We have a...
Well, why wouldn't there be a story about the woman's perspective of that?
Exactly.
See? There you go.
You and I.
So, take us through the process of getting gigs and getting into, because we have bands, we just had a band on right before we had you on, and, I'm familiar with, how these bands get booked and all these things. But I've never really talked to anybody like you, Shelly, who's actively working in the business. How does this work? Do you have an agent? Take us through this whole thing.
Are you in the Actors Guild?
That too.
Okay, so first of all, I have an agent, I have a manager, and I have a PR agent.
Okay. Well, that's good.
But a lot of the work is about friendships and relationships. I go to a lot of film festivals, American Film Market, Sundance. I've been to Cannes with a project. I feel like you meet people on set, and then you get along, and they like your work, and then they introduce you to somebody else, and then they get along, and they like your work, and then a film gets into Cannes, which is what happened, and you go to Cannes, and you meet more people, and it's really I think that's what took me a while. Because in Israel, it's very much you have an agent, they send you an audition, you get the part. There's less of like the whole networking and keeping up with, other people's careers and what they're doing. And, oh, I know that woman from so-and-so, and now she's doing a film, and I see that there's like roles that might be good for me. I should get in contact. I think there's a lot more navigating in the USA and keeping in touch with people. But it's interesting because it's like every time I meet somebody, somehow I'll know one of their friends. It's just gotten to the point where kind of the world becomes smaller and you know more and more people. There are obviously a lot of auditions, but sometimes even to just get into the audition, you have to kind of either have met somebody, you know, a lot of times it's hearing through people. And then, of course, from my agent and from my manager. I mean, transparent, I got from my manager. So audition, networking, and getting your stuff out there, you know, getting interviewed, putting things on your website, getting my acting reels up and about so people can see it. Facebook, I get a lot of stuff through contacts that like, hey, I heard about you through so-and-so. Do you have a reel? And, oh, why don't you come in and, you know, have a meeting with the production team or whatever. So it's a lot of different ways. There's Actors Access and there's like casting, websites, and just, it's a 9-to-5 job to get a job. Yeah. So,
well,
yeah.
that's pretty awesome. That so how did you go about getting some of the different agents? Because I'm sure you probably just, you know, didn't open up the yellow pages and say, oh well, let's find an agent. Did you get referrals from folks? How did this all work?
Actually, when I first got to LA, there literally is a yellow book for agents.
Okay, I stand corrected.
Samuel French, and I got the yellow book and I sent out.
Yes.
But cold calling didn't really help me. I think with me it's more about kind of meeting me and getting to know my personality and, you know, who I am as a person. So while I did get an agent from that, that agent didn't really lead to much. And eventually the agents that really worked for me were agents that had met me through referrals and friends. So it's usually, you know, I'll meet somebody again through somebody had a dinner party, somebody's birthday party, somebody had like, you know, a Christmas office party for this agency or whatever it is, that is through networking, and then I'll be introduced to somebody and we'll talk and then we'll meet for coffee and we'll see that there's a good vibe and understanding and then we'll go for it.
Sweet.
It's also, you know, you want it, it's not just work, it's a way of life, and you really want to be surrounded by people that you like and enjoy and trust, you know, and I feel like it's more about that as well.
Stay away from pigulas and pigules.
What are pigulas? I'm going to sound really ignorant now.
Yeah, you know, the pigul is the Hebrew word for stinky abomination.
I'm thinking maybe you're saying it wrong. Like pigul, maybe with an R? Like
I'd have to look it up. I thought I spelled it right.
I'm like, let me just check my Google.
That is awesome. We have a great guest with us today. Now,
Wonderful smile.
Now, tell us a little bit about, you know, the process of, you know, have you ever been turned down for roles? How did you deal with that? Or you know, give us those details.
So here's what's funny. Up until I was an adult, I'd never been turned down. So all the way through being a kid, all the theater I did, the film I did, I didn't even realize that auditioning was a matter of yes or no. I thought auditioning was a matter of, do you suit this role or do you suit this role? Which was really weird. But then, because I grew up in London, and then I moved to Israel at 18, and then there was a language barrier. And then I started being turned down, which was a novelty to me. I was like, what? Because I had to adjust to different types of characters, different kind of culture, different style of humor, and a completely different language, which I wasn't, you know, completely fluent in at the time. I am now because I, you know, spent a few years there and got a college degree in Hebrew. So, I mean, you know, when you got to turn in the papers, you learn the language. But to be honest, it doesn't even faze me. It's really weird. It's like I do an audition and it's gone. And sometimes somebody will call me up and they'll be like, oh, we really want you to come in for this role. You were great at the audition. We want to book you. And I'll be like, huh? Which one was that one? Not because like I am a forgetful person, but because I've just learned how to compartmentalize that. So there could be roles out there today in movies that I auditioned for, and I wouldn't even remember I auditioned for them because I just let it go. It's part of, it's like when you're looking for a job and you go for a bunch of job interviews, but when you're an actor, you have to know that your whole life you're going to be going to job interviews, and that's part of the job. It's almost like, I like to say, it's like when a teenage guy has to like ask a lot of girls out until someone says yes.
What, Shelly, what do you do for fun? What kind of books, what kind of music do you listen to, read?
Are you sure we want to get into? There's a lot. First of all, I love hiking. I actually live in Hollywood Hills, and I'm right next to a Runyon Canyon. So pretty much every morning, which for a while I didn't do hiking, and I think that for my heart and soul, I really need to be outdoors. I'm very much an outdoors person, but I don't like exercise. Like the idea of going to the gym gives me anxiety, but like climbing up a mountain sounds great to me. So I do a lot of hiking up Runyon Canyon, and I'm obsessed with travel. These are like the main things. I love to dance, but I had a car accident a couple of years ago that really messed up my shoulder. So dancing is harder, especially salsa. I actually spent 10 months in South America backpacking, and 3 of those months were in Cusco because they had the most incredible salsa clubs there, and all the locals were like, dancing salsa, and I learned so much, and I danced every single day. Even though Cusco is at like 3,000 meters height and you can hardly breathe, I would be dancing every single day and every single night. So I love dancing, and I love traveling. Traveling is a huge... I spent 5 months in India and 10 months in South America, and I've been to most of Europe, and I've been to most of the USA, including places like Alaska, which are like less charted waters. I love New Orleans, for instance. And then books. Right now, I'm reading The Kite Runner again, because I was very young when I read it, and I wanted to read it again. And the book before that that I read was The God of Small Things. I seem to be really attracted to kind of fiction, historical books where they kind of, The God of Small Things is based in India. This one is The Kite Runner's in the Middle East, obviously, or Memoirs of a Geisha, kind of like other cultures in historical moments, but not necessarily actual history, but kind of a what-if scenario. I'm just really interested in culture. I mean, I would have been an anthropologist in another life. I actually almost became an archaeologist until I realized that Indiana Jones was a movie star, and that's not what archaeology is really like.
If I was your best friend in another world, I would suggest you look into belly dance.
I've done belly dancing. Also, don't forget, my dad's Egyptian. I'm Middle Eastern. Belly dancing is kind of like part of the culture. So yeah, my mom is Turkish, so I'm like really Middle Eastern.
We were definitely separated at birth.
With I used to be part of the Adam Bosma group. I don't know if you've heard of it. He had like a debki and belly dancing troupe that I used to be part of.
That's awesome. I've kind of heard of them. Have you heard of that, Jay?
I have.
Yeah, so I used to be part of their dance troupe. This is like a good 7 years ago. I did that for a while as well. Again, as I said, I love dancing, so that was definitely part of something I did. But yeah, I mean, I'm an adventurous. Actually, I just want to let you know that apropos Indiana Jones, so when I was in South America, I did this like 2-day hike up a mountain that was actually a sandy mountain, so it's like hiking in the desert, to get to Choqquequirao, which is basically everybody's heard of Machu Picchu, no one's heard of Choqquequirao, but there's another mountain with another set of archaeological finds and buildings that everybody's heard of. And when I got there, they'd only just discovered it a couple of years previously, and they hadn't even excavated the whole thing. And long story short, I have an Inca handle in my house.
Oh.
Wow.
Isn't that insane?
Holy
That's
smokes,
my
look at
Inca
that.
handle.
That's pretty awesome.
Oh, yeah.
Just,
Look at that.
10 months. And I actually, when I found it,
That's
you know,
pretty
and it's a
freaking
long
cool.
story how I found it, but I decided to excavate because I was like, I'm Indiana Jones. I just climbed for 2 days. I'm going to excavate, and then I found this. And I gave it to the guide, and he said, you know, honestly, at this point, the archaeologists have gone. Anybody you give it to at this point is going to put it in their house. So
You might as well go put it in yours.
I was like, are you sure that this is not like a national treasure? He's like, no, this is like 50 pieces left over. But I just have this fantasy that one day I'm going to go to like back to South America and see like this like pot in a museum, and it's going to be missing a handle, and I'm just going to go, look. And it's gonna be perfect.
That is awesome. Well, Shelly, as we wrap up here with you, my friend, do you have any upcoming projects or anything you want to promote?
So there's two main things I want to promote right now. One of them is a film called Phoning It In, which is about it's about a woman who can't make a decision, literally to save her life.
Yes.
And I'm playing the lead. The name is Astrid, and that's currently in development, and that's going to be shot this year. I'm really excited because it's the first like actual, legitimate, complete lead all on my own in a feature film in America. So that's great. And another thing that I'm doing is with producer and comedian Natalie Marciano, who's a genius, who cracks me up and blows my mind simultaneously. And what we're doing is this online talk show called Black Sheep Revelations.
Okay.
And it's all about us being the black sheep in our families and all of the like life lessons and revelations that we've come to. And we're basically here to like just burst a lot of these bubbles of misconceptions of who you have to be as a person.
That's fantastic.
Because we don't want you to fit in, because you were put on this planet to play your own tune and bring your own magic. So it's going to be a really exciting, funny, quirky, edgy, weird kind of show, and I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. Well, our next guest is patiently waiting on the telephone. I've got to get to them. I appreciate you making time for us today, Shelly. And Jay, I will call you back, or I will attempt to call you back here on Skype after our commercial break. But Shelly, thanks for joining us today. It's been fun.
Bye, Shelly.
Have fun.
We'll have to do this again. There goes Shelly, and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, our next guest is up and running. They are going to be on the telephone with us here in just a few seconds. We'll be back here on our world famous Jiggy